Hi there guys, today we are finally doing our review of Gran Turismo Sport. Now, it's a game that everyone's been waiting for a long time, it's been a long time coming, here it is. What do we think? The intro? Very promising. Typical Gran Turismo, it starts with your classic stuff, heading off into some more modern shots of the game, shots of the cars you're going to be driving, shots of the things that are going on in the game. Like I say, it's very old school Gran Turismo, fun, exciting, and interesting. The intros are always a bit to be excited about, and I know I always get excited for them. This one doesn't disappoint. Absolutely cracking. The game, it really makes the game look good. It really shows off what they can do. Really good intro. I have got a video on the intro. I'll leave a link of that in the description. Onto the game looks. I mean, I've put some screenshots in here of some of the car shots that you get while you're in Gran Turismo. Interior there of the Porsche. The cars look absolutely fantastic. The LaFerrari there in Venice. They really put a lot of effort into making the cars look as absolute best that they possibly can. And I really don't think it disappoints at all in the cars. They look fantastic. I'm really impressed with how real and how good all of the cars look in the game. Seeing some more shots here of the scapes. Now my only problem with some of the graphics is you notice the trees here looking a little bit square. It almost look like they're just cross sections. Another example there is there's the same tree 3 times. Things like that, the game probably is lacking a little bit. The overall looks, though, I would say were pretty positive. Pardon me. The gravel probably could have done with a bit more work. The dust and the gravel. It's the same story when you're driving over the grass. It's not the best graphics, but the scenes that you get in the cars probably do make up for it. Okay, on to navigating around in the game. Not the best. Everything seems a little bit all over the place. Now on the screen at the moment you'll see you've got all the options across the top. You've got the GT, Arcade, Campaign, Sport, Brand Central, Lobby and Scapes. Each one of those then has its own menu. You've got the Arcade option. Down the left hand side there you can see you've got more options. There's another 6 options down the left hand side. You've got the Home, Livery Editor, My Library, Mileage Exchange, Discovery and Save. And then across the bottom you've got a further 3 options, which is the News section, Your Activity Feed and Your Achievements. So it seems to be quite a lot for you to have to navigate round, which isn't ideal. But there's a lot of things to get through, so I suppose they have to have a lot of sections for it. Onto the racing. Now, I've uploaded a clip here of some of the racing. I'm not the best, so don't think that this is me trying to show off. It really isn't. I'm not the best at the racing at all. What this is going to show you though is the AI driving. Now note the Porsche up in the front, the white one, and try and ignore the Alpha that's in the way. But I'm just going to follow these two in front for a little moment. Now, some of the old GT games were guilty of every car stuck to the racing line perfectly, and it wasn't very interesting racing. As you can see here, there's a lot more involved now. There's a lot more of a battle. The AI cars are not only battling with you, they're battling with themselves. That was something else they were always a bit guilty of. The best cars would be at the front, and that's how it would always stay. But as you can see here, there is an actual battle going on for the lead. Which to me makes much more interesting racing, because you're no longer just thinking about what you've got to do, you're thinking about what the opposition are going to do as well. Which, like I say, I know I've certainly experienced it on previous GT games. It was a little bit cardboard in that you knew exactly where they were going to be, what they were going to be doing, and where the best place to overtake was. Now all the cars are thinking for themselves a bit more. That definitely makes it a lot more interesting. Yeah, so I think the racing itself has got a lot more realistic, purely for the fact that the cars are definitely doing their own bit of thinking as well. The cars giving you a nudge, giving you a tap. If you get onto their line or where they want to be. So yeah, all in all, I'd say the racing is definitely a lot more interesting. I'll just let this clip run out for you now and watch a little bit of the racing. And yeah, see what you guys think of the AI and the new improved AI. Okay, so far I'd say I've been quite positive. However, this is where it takes a little bit of a turn. The racing modes. Now, Gran Turismo, best thing about it, career mode. You start from nothing, you build up, you get better. You enter championships, win better cars. Problem with this now is you're limited. The arcade mode is fine, but it is nothing more than an arcade mode. The campaign, which we would normally expect to see our campaign mode, has now been replaced with what to me is just a set of driving license missions. On the old games you had the licenses, that has sort of become the campaign now. You have the driving school, the mission challenge and the circuit experience, all of which to me are just variations of licensing tests from the old games. Driving school do X in X amount of space, so drive 100 metres and brake in the zone. Mission challenge is overtake, say, 2 cars on 1 lap of Suzuka. And circuit experience is teaching about racing lines on the different circuits. To me, all things that belong in license tests, but certainly not as a campaign mode. Now, the sport mode, this is where the focus seems to be, is the online racing basically. So you've got the race entry, which is where the races are, surprisingly. Live reports are just a bit of news, and then race and etiquette is nothing more than a couple of videos that you need to watch before you can go online. The online mode you've got the daily races, which is a selection of 3 races that you can enter. Now, it's not the biggest online game, so these 3 races are sort of your choices for things to enter. Now, my biggest issue with these is the times. So they have set start times. So if you wanted to get on the third race C there, you've got to wait 13 minutes before that race is due for the off. The middle race, race B, you've got to wait 8 minutes. The time in the top right is 1:57 when that was recorded, so that's what those times are based on. But that to me is not ideal. You could be waiting around 15, 16 minutes to enter one race. You do the race, it lasts about 10 minutes. You come out again, and you're back to square one. So you are quite limited on the online races. Although they're gonna the track cycle, I believe it's each week. To me, it still doesn't feel like it's that comprehensive. You have got the tournaments, but at the moment, none of these are open. So, like I say, you are a little bit restricted on that online sport mode, which isn't ideal at all for the price of the game. But you're probably thinking, oh, well, they'll probably make up for it for having loads of cars you could buy with your prize money. Unfortunately not. There isn't that many cars on the game either. Total amount of 163 cars, which isn't massive compared to older Gran Turismo games. Here you're quite limited on the brands. There's only the 5 brands from America, which, cover the basics, but still not the massive brands we've seen before. In Europe, again, loads of brands missing here. Loads. People that you'd expect to see, brands you'd expect to see on Gran Turismo just aren't there. Some of them aren't even brands. For example, Switzerland, you've got the tag here. That is just an advert for them. The Lewis Hamilton section in Britain, that is just information about Lewis Hamilton. So, of all the brands that are there, not all of them are even brands. Japan and Korea again, yeah, it's got the main ones there, but nowhere near the vast amount of cars that we're used to seeing on a Gran Turismo game. Project Cars 2, only 182 cars in that game. but it's still more. I believe there's something like 650 to 700 cars on Forza, which, yeah, dirty word, Forza, Xbox, bleh. But the point is, it's doable on these next-gen consoles, and it can still look great. I'm sure we've all seen footage of Forza, we all know how good that looks. It's very possible, and I really feel that Gran Turismo have dropped the ball here with how few cars there are available, considering there's no career mode. So you think they would make up for it somewhere else? It's not happened in the cars. It's definitely not there. Onto the modding of the cars, because again you're probably thinking, well, what about the modding? You know, that's always a classic part of Gran Turismo games, was buying the parts, modifying. Nope, that's gone as well. So you have three setups, you have a road, a dirt and a drift setup, so you can modify your car dependent on which race you're going to be entering in it, but there's not an awful lot to do. Your modifying now is here. You use your mileage points to basically level the car up. So from level 1 to level 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. That increases the power, and that's about it. That's about as much as your power tuning goes. Disappointing. Massively disappointing. Same with the weight reduction. Mileage points reduces the weight. It's that simple. And by simple, I mean it's simple. Anybody can do it, which is good in some respects, but to me, having lost all the tuning aspect of it as well, isn't great. You don't even use the money for that. This is all based on the mileage points which you earn per race. Tyre choices, you don't have to purchase different tyres. Everybody's got them from scratch, which, okay, puts you on a level playing field, I suppose, but to me takes away from some of the game that was part of the game. Brakes, you can do sort of your front and rear balance. You can change the suspension if you know what you're doing there. I don't, but if you know what you're doing, you can do. Your drivetrain, you can sort of mess about with your slip differentials. Your transmission, which you can see just below. I'll head to that in a second. Again, it's something you can sort of customise and mess around with, but compared to the levels of tuning we've seen on previous games, even going back as far as 1 and 2, it's just completely missing. It's like a proper career mode. It's completely missing. Again, this is somewhere else that I think they've really, really dropped the ball. It might as well not be here. It's as simple as that. It might as well not be in the game. It's that poor. Now, once you've got your car, limited on choice, but you've got it, you've done your limited bit of tuning, you want to take it on a race. Okay, best place to go is arcade mode. Instant race, bam, I just want to get something done. You go into your arcade mode, quite limited. There's only 17 courses on the game. 17, 1-7. Of those 17, there's 38 different layouts. Not that many. It really isn't. Again, when you're looking at it compared to other games, it is third place between this, Project Cars 2 and Forza. Third place again. The only variations you do get, really, are the difficulty. The blue, the yellow and the red, they signify the difficulty. Yeah, very restricted. Another problem that you've got here is the levels. You only unlock certain courses once you reach certain levels. So, arcade mode, you load it up, you fancy going around the Nürburgring. Nope, not until you're level 20. So that again, what is already quite a small game, really, you're restricted even more by what level you're on. When you first start the game, you're only going to have a handful of those available, and it's going to take you all the way to level 20 to unlock them all. Again, to me that's just not good enough. Onto the damage in the game. Something that Gran Turismo, to me, has always been lacking. Now I've just hit a wall at roughly about 100 miles an hour. I flip the car. Instead of continuing the roll, it pulls you out, puts you back on the course, like nothing's happened. What's that about? Hit the wall again. That's done some damage, surely. You'd think, hit a wall, 100 miles an hour, damage. No. This is something that from day one Gran Turismo has had a problem with. Now, don't get me wrong, it sounds like I don't like Gran Turismo. I love Gran Turismo. I had every game since its release, and this is easily the most disappointing one of the lot. Might sound harsh, but I think that's true. Now, obviously, while I've just been talking there, this whole damage thing has been going on without us. I've flipped this car twice, I've hit other cars, I've rammed the wall numerous times, and all that has happened to the car so far is there's a slight scratch on the back, the paintwork's chipped, and I'll show you the front in a moment. That's just not realistic. I'm sorry, but damage is one of the things that Gran Turismo has always been missing. It's always been lacking compared to other games, and nothing has been done to fix that problem. Nothing. There's very little damage, nowhere near the type of damage you would experience if you hit a wall at 100 miles an hour. And I just think that's a massive loss in the game. You know, they haven't given us a career mode, which I think is a shame. They haven't given us a proper sort of campaign. They've not given us many cars. They've not given us many tracks. And this, not having the damage, is just something else that's missing. And I think that's a massive problem. I don't know where the inspiration is to keep coming back to this. Once you've done your 3 daily races, you've done a couple of arcade races, that's it. That's your thing. That's your fill done. Which is a shame. What I'm showing you on the screen now, sorry, is the escapes mode. Something that's very popular in games these days is a photography element. Everyone wants to be an artist. My only issue with this is there are more scenes available to take pictures in than there are tracks to race on. To me, in a racing game, that's a problem. And you can add that to the list of problems that this game has got. So, all in all, I've got to say, I'm quite disappointed. And I wouldn't have bought this game had I known how small it would be. That's my summary, guys. Let me know what you think. Like I say, there's a link to the opening scene in the description, and I've put one on screen there for you now. And let me know what you think, guys. Let me know what you think of the game. Let me know what you think is missing. And I'll see you in the next one.